Hi, Grace and I are excited to bring this video. We made this several months ago and we're just now getting able to videotape it. We're going to make onion rings. Now I know what you're gonna say, onions are high in carbs. Well, they can be, but we're gonna put some good stuff with them and make them not so high in carbs. In fact, what I've done, this is one onion and this is another onion, and I wanted to show you what I did. I basically peeled it and sliced it into fairly thick slices. Now, oops, I didn't do so great with that. This is a Spanish onion. Spanish onions have less sugar than Videa onions, so that's why I'm using a Spanish onion. In fact, when we looked it up, according to the website we looked at, there are, to make sure I say this right, there are 6.5 grams of carbs, 6.5 total carbs in Spanish onion, and 100 grams and 8.75, almost 9, so 6.5 versus 9 from Spanish onions to Videa. And so basically what I did was I chopped it up, came up with a ring, and then the center part where it gets small and looks like 2 eyeballs, Grace was playing with that earlier, we just set that aside and chop it up because that's hard to do onion rings with, but this is a great size. So remember that for Spanish onions, which is what we're using, it is 6.5 carbs, we'll just round up to 7 for 100 grams. Let's measure this, we'll weigh it and see how many.
98.
98, we didn't even quite hit 100. Let's see if we can put one more on there. What do you think, Gracie?
I believe we can.
Maybe. Well, you know what? That's 104, but since 100 is 6.5, we'll do 104, call it 7. How's that? Now, this is 7 carbs for all of that onion. And what's important to remember is that we're going to eat this among the 3 of us. Jonathan probably won't eat this, but that's a lot of onion rings. In fact, I probably won't eat 1/3 of this. I would be surprised if I ate 1/4 of this. But let's make our onion rings. This is so good. We kind of did it by accident. Let me start with, okay, so Grace is gonna take an onion ring, pull those little membranes off. That might even weigh less, what do you think? Pull that out, and Grace is gonna coat it with mayonnaise. She's using Primal mayonnaise. The mayonnaise is made with avocado oil that I love so much. You can make your own mayonnaise or use your favorite. Just make sure it doesn't have sugar. So she's gonna take these onion rings and she's gonna coat them with mayonnaise, and then I'm going to take them and coat them with a really crunchy coating. Now this is a messy job and it really works well to have an assembly line because you just gotta get your fingers in it. I have a 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese, and what I did was I took grated Parm, and put it in my Ninja and just blended it up. To that, I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of crushed pork rinds. And so what I did was I took my favorite Carolina Country cracklings and put it in the Ninja too, and that's a 1/2 cup. And then I've got oat fiber, and this oat fiber is a little more than a 1/4 cup. It's between 1/4 and 1/3 cup of oat fiber. Now, I'm just gonna mix that around. This makes a great coating. And what I've done before is I've taken fish and chicken and different meats, put mayonnaise on it, just let it sit for a little while, Grace, I'm not quite ready. Put mayonnaise on it and then put this coating and baked it. So we thought, why wouldn't this work for onion rings? And it did. Now my pork rinds are pretty salty, but I'm going to add some salt to this, just a little bit. And I'm gonna add some fresh cracked pepper. The oat fiber, we don't know what it is. We don't know if it's the oat fiber working with the pork rinds or what. But this stays so crispy, and we've got our oven preheated to 375. So 350, 375, either would work. So we just add a little salt and pepper to this. And Grace is like, would you please take this? Go ahead and put it down, sweetie, on the baking dish.
Right here?
Yeah, on the baking sheet, and I'll get it. And that's what we had done before. We actually kind of laid them out on the baking dish. Now I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna get stuff all over me. And I'm just gonna coat it with the crumbs, and this is just, Grace has covered it with mayonnaise, and I'm coating it with the mix of Parm and pork rinds. Now I know what you're thinking. Half of you are going, I don't like pork rinds, never met some I really loved. Well, you will love this. Okay. You won't know it's pork rinds. My husband doesn't care for pork rinds, but he really ate up these onion rings, didn't he, Gracie? So that's all we're gonna do. We're gonna take, yep, we got a good, nice, thick coating. I don't know if you can see how thick that is, but Grace has got a great thick coating of mayonnaise. And the mayonnaise provides some fat and moisture and it's just great in the oven. And you can put it, depending on how you like to cook, you can just put it in there, mush it on. I like it pretty thick. In fact, I may go back and add some coating to this, and you can see how thick I'm getting that. And they're not very fragile. You just put them on there. Thank you. And a nice little assembly line going. And you can see, I mean, these are rich. And so probably, honestly, I don't remember how many I ate because these were so good. We were eating them as they were coming out of the oven. You know, they're so good. You're trying not to burn your mouth. Make sure you get the mayonnaise really thick. We probably used, there's another jar there, Gracie, if you need to open it. We probably used a half cup of mayonnaise just last time we made this, and we just used 1 onion, and I did not weigh it. I was weighing it here. So let's go over that as we finish this up. We're getting ready to pause the video so we get them in the oven, but let's go over real quick. If you're using 100 grams of Spanish onion, and we used 104, you've got roughly 7 carbs in the onions. How many carbs in the mayonnaise? None. That was a trick question, Gracie. No carbs, 0 carbs in the mayonnaise. And then, yep, that's good. Really good and thick. You just can't, got to get your fingers in there. There's no way, right? And then as far as the oat fiber, because it is insoluble fiber, I don't tend to count that. Now, if you count it, you want to add that in with your macros. Parmesan cheese has 0 carbs. We got the stuff that you grate. So it's clean, and I'll double check the one we're using to make sure I'm telling you right. And there are no carbohydrates in the pork rinds either. So you're looking at, unless there's some carbs in that cheese, you're looking at 7 carbs for the entire pan. 7 carbs is my limit for a meal, but I would not eat the entire pan, even left alone without Grace and David to give me a run for my money. So this is what we're doing. We're going to take some time with our little assembly line. We're just coating up the onion rings with mayonnaise. Grace is doing that, putting the coating on them. We'll pop them in the oven. The oven is only set at 375. We'll pop them in the oven, and then about 15-20 minutes we'll show you exactly what we have with our low-carb keto onion rings. We wanted to show you right before we put this in the oven, we wanted to show you what we've done. Grace has coated them. I've put over here. We're so excited because Grace had to use more mayonnaise, but we have just about was perfect for 100 grams of onion as far as the coating that we had. And it's fairly thick coating if you can see from that perspective. We've got quite a bit of coating on there, and I knocked some of that off as I was doing that. But I've also, in baking them, put a few of the smaller pieces into the larger pieces just to conserve space. Put this in the oven, and we'll see in just a little bit. I'm sure our mouths will be full. We're going to clean our hands.
Yeah.
And they're ready. And Grace's like, can I eat one? Can I eat one? I promise they're all like on that plate. And that's about a serving. I wanted to show you what a serving would look like. Okay, Grace, go ahead. And I had just enough time. They baked for about 15 minutes. I had just enough time to make a batch of low-carb ketchup. Wow. They're crispy. You may be able to hear the crunch in the microphone. What do you think, Grace? They're really good. The thicker you cut them, the better they hold up. And these probably could have browned a little bit longer, but we did about 15 minutes. And they're really crispy. You know what we need to go with this? A burger with cheese and bacon. These are great low-carb onion rings.
We should put these on the burger.
Put these on the burger. That would work. These are great low-carb onion rings. The entire pan, as we calculated it, was 1 carb per quarter cup of Parmesan. So 9 carbs for this entire pan. Even if Grace and I split it, and David got none, we're still under 5 carbs per, and we can still have our burger with it. We hope that if you make low-carb onion rings with your family, that they enjoy them too.